All right, hello, everyone. My name is Molly Casey, and I have the honor of hosting tonight's Beauty Queens Galore live interview chat. I am here with Miss Stephanie Bartage, and I literally just had to ask her how to pronounce her last name because I would have messed it up completely otherwise. I am very excited because she is competing for Miss Louisiana USA as Miss Capital City, and not only that, she is competing as a mom and a wife, and also just a all-around amazing woman. So, can you please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are beyond the crown?
Sure. Well, my name is Stephanie Bartage. Like you mentioned, I am a mother. I am married. I do live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I am an artistic director for a theater nonprofit. I also founded a national charity that helps CHD patients. So yeah, that's the gist.
So, what is CHD? I've heard that phrase before, but I'm not 100% sure what it means.
So CHD stands for congenital heart disease. Kind of a backstory about that. My son was born with a heart defect. And so yes, so it opened up a world that I had no idea about up until it happened to my son. And it's something that I've been educating myself as I go. And me and my husband opened up a charity to help other patients like him with medical funding, housing. What we also help is patients that have to undergo a thymus transplant, which many people don't know. What is a thymus, right? So a thymus actually helps us fight disease, infections. So that's super important. And many children are born without it. And so when they're exposed to sickness, there's a huge risk that it could be fatal. And so many of these children have to undergo a thymus transplant, which is only done in 2 hospitals in the entire world. And so, yes, I know, craziness. And so we help these families get to these hospitals and help with some of the medical funding, whatever we can do to alleviate the stress.
Ha- Two hospitals in the entire world.
Yes, it's pretty rare. It's pretty rare. So, to their defense, it is a rare condition. But yes, 2 hospitals in the entire world. There's one in London, and then there's one here in the US. If you want to travel to London, the insurance here in the US will not cover it. And so that's kind of where we come in and we help these families with the funding.
Holy good gracious. So, you've been on quite the journey pre
For
even
sure.
choosing
For
to
sure.
compete for Miss Louisiana USA.
Yes.
And kind of gearing into that, what convinced you to choose to compete for Miss Louisiana USA after all of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I never imagined myself competing in beauty pageants. I've always wanted to do it since I was a little girl. I would watch these Spanish beauty pageants on the TV, and it was kind of like a dream, right? That you have, but you never really saw yourself doing. Up until I want to say maybe 2 years ago, there was a Spanish pageant happening in Louisiana, and it was open to anyone, open to mothers, of all ages. And I just remember something telling me, just do it, just sign up, just do it. What will you lose, right? And so I did it, and I didn't win, but I learned so much just going through that journey. It was a journey of empowerment, and I got hooked. I got hooked. I got the pageant bug after that. And so not too long after I did that was the big announcement, right? About, okay, we are opening the pageants to mothers and to married women, and now with the age limit being lifted, it was kind of a sign for me. Okay, this is, you should continue to do this. And I have. And the first year I competed in Miss Louisiana USA was last year, when all of those restrictions were lifted. And I'm so glad that I did, because not only not only am I representing Latinos because I am Hispanic, but I'm representing such a big group of women, right? That maybe never thought they could do such a thing. And now they can. And so for me, it's much more than the crown. It's being up on that stage and really showing, okay, yes, I'm a mother. Yes, I have curvier dimensions because of being a mother. Yes, I'm a married woman. Yes, I am Latina, but I can also do this. So if I can do it, so can you. And that's the only outcome I want from competing.
What do you think you have learned the most, or what do you think you learned the most in that first pageant when you jumped in having never done it before?
Yeah, so oh my goodness, there's a lot of preparation I didn't know beforehand. I think when anyone thinks of pageantry that is not in the world of pageantry, I don't think they understand that there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. It's not just putting makeup on, doing your hair and looking pretty and standing on stage, right? I mean, it's learning to walk in those heels, learning to walk well in those heels, learning how to speak well, and truly taking care of yourself in the process. Because what I've learned is that you can get lost. You can get lost in a lot of self-doubt, and it's very easy to do so in this journey. And so what I've learned is just to stay strong throughout it all. And I think it helps you grow as a person. It also teaches you truly who you are and what you can be and what, you have no limits really.
So you talk a lot about diversity, which is something that you absolutely bring to the Miss Louisiana USA stage. But why for for organizations like Miss USA or even organizations like Beauty Queens Galore, how can we ensure that pageantry really celebrates diversity and inclusivity rather than just showcasing it as a trend?
Sure, that's a good question for for today. Um, it's difficult. It's difficult because it's so new, I think, right? Um, these restrictions, I mean, were just lifted not too long ago. And so I think that everyone is trying to learn how to navigate it. And overall, it's a good thing. And I think over in the end, it's going to be shown, right, that everyone, I think, is for diversity one way or the other. It's a little tricky because you have a lot more girls that fall into the diversity category going in now. And you have girls that have been doing this for a long time, right? And so it's like two groups coming in together and trying to balance it. And so, like I said, it's tricky, but I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful that I have the opportunity to compete. And I think that it's so important, and like going back to what I was saying before, it's so important for girls like me to compete, because if we don't, then it's just, things will go back to the way they were, right? And I truly believe that diversity is so important. I own a theater nonprofit, and our mission is to bring more diversity on stage. And so for me, it doesn't just fall in pageantry. For me, it's acting, right? Growing up, it was so hard to find someone like me on stage that I can look up to. And I knew that moving to Baton Rouge, I wanted to change the scene over here. And so that's why I created this nonprofit, to bring more opportunities, not just to people of color, but to everyone, right? To open the doors to everyone. And so every production we do is open casting, which means anyone can come and audition. And I think that that is where pageantry is leading, and I'm very excited for it.
So you have this passion for bringing diversity to the theater realm, which is really cool. And then you also have your advocacy work around congenital heart disease and the condition which required your son to have a transplant, which is amazing. How would you go about representing those two very different advocacy platforms as Miss Louisiana USA?
Sure. Well, I like to say every day I wake up, I like to think I'm already Miss Louisiana USA. I think I do a lot for the community, not just with these two outlets, but with other things as well. I do represent the Latino community by working with a media company called Goddess and Faces, and what we do is we help them with resources. And so I have so many things that I'm juggling, right? And I think that as a title holder, you're supposed to know how to do that. And so I think I'm doing it really well already. And I'm not the type of person to stick to one thing. I think that our world needs so much help right now. And for me to just focus on one thing when I can help, with 10 other things, if I can do it, then why not? And so for me to be representing not, multiple things, I think that's what a true leader is about.
And kind of in the same vein of being a representative and being showing off who you are, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about you?
Misconception that I have it all together all the time because I don't. They oh you carry yourself so well, and you don't stress out. I'm like, no, I stress out every day. And that's also going talking about social media is that yeah, people see you do so many things, but they don't know the process behind it and what it took to get there and what, the tears, the work. I mean, everything I went through with my son, the work that I put in pageantry, being kind of not an outsider, but different, right? Um, and also being Latina in the performing arts community, it's tough, it's hard work, and there's a lot of heartache that goes into it and disappointment, and that is what maybe I don't talk about as much, but that it definitely happens.
And kind of going back to the idea of the process and the ways of getting to where you are now, what process or what thought process led you to compete in Miss USA other than maybe not another system that's already had married women accepted and mothers accepted? What was different about Miss USA?
The fact that it was so new, right, that they were allowing us to compete. I went in wanting to make a stance, and I think I did, hopefully. It's it's tough because there's, like I was saying before, there's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of thoughts that go into your head even before applying. Can I really do this? Is it going to work out? I don't know. Am I going to fall on stage? And plus, Miss Louisiana USA, I mean, they've been around for a very long time, right? And so it's one of the pageants that is looked up to, and it is prelim to Miss USA. And so a lot of people know about it. And so I had that mindset as well, is that, okay, a lot of eyes are going to be on this. And I really want to step on that stage and for people to hear that, wow, she's a mom and she, had the guts to do it. And so that was what led me was that I knew that a lot of people were going to be watching and that I was going to be representing a lot at the time. And now I just love it. That's another reason.
Once you get into pageants, it becomes addicting. People
Yes.
think we joke about it, but it is so extraordinarily true.
Yes, yes, it is, and well, like I said, it teaches you so much about yourself, and it continues to do so, right? Like with each pageant that you do, you learn something different about yourself, and I love that.
In that, I guess that same kind of idea, if you were to finish this sentence, I want to be remembered for, what would it be?
I want to be remembered for advocating for diversity. That is very, very important to me. Growing up as a little girl, being Latina, it was really hard, and being from the South, it was really hard. There's a lot of discrimination that I don't talk about personally, but it happens. And for me to come into an outlet that you don't see much Latinos come into and really, I mean, sweep the city of Baton Rouge with, it's amazing. And I'm proud to say it, and I don't want to sound boastful at all, but I've created something fantastic for the arts community here, and I hope that people can remember me for that. But most importantly, remember me for putting different faces, putting different bodies, putting different people of different colors on stage, and for them to have the opportunity to explore and to voice themselves.
You talk about different bodies on stage and different, faces and colors and styles and just personalities on stage. How do you, or if somebody were to ask you, I'm nervous to go on stage. I'm too nervous to compete at Miss Louisiana USA. I don't think I have the body for Miss USA. What would your response be?
Well, Firstly, I would say your feelings are valid because I think a lot of times when people come to you with those thoughts or those emotions, you try to find the correct answer and sometimes you don't have it. And I know firsthand, right? Because I was telling myself those things when going in last year. And honestly, Molly, I'm still asking myself those things coming in this year, right? It's normal. And I think it's okay to normalize that because like we are saying, it's new. It's something new and it's okay and your feelings are valid. But I, you know, after I say that, I would say, well, what do you lose? Right? I mean, and what do you gain? You gain so much. You gain a experience of a lifetime, and that is worth much more than the crown.
Knowing what you know now, what's one thing that you wish you knew before you competed?
The work that the preparation and how long you should prepare. Yes, I'm one of those people. I like to like jump right into things. And which I did last year, and it was fine, but I underestimated it for sure. Which is something that now going in the second time, I know I'm more conscious of. But yes, that is something that was hard for me the first time around. I didn't understand the amount of preparation that really goes into a pageant and then a pageant of this sort.
What has been maybe one of the biggest obstacles you've faced in your preparation?
The walk. The walk has been hard.
It's
Well,
a challenge.
it's a challenge, and I think it's because I didn't grow up in pageants, right? And so I kind of had to learn all of this very fast. And there's so many techniques, and you try to learn them all. And I'm also, and people don't believe me, but I am curvier. I do have hips, and so for me, it's I can't move that as fast as some of the other girls. And so for me, it's been a challenge to learn how to strut. But it's a journey. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
What's one of the tips or tricks that you've learned to get to that point where you are maybe more comfortable in your walk?
Well, I do have a coach, so there's that. Shout out to the coaches; y'all are awesome. Yeah, so I do have help, and it's really about discipline, right? It's like going to the gym. You got to put those heels on every day. You got to set up a mirror, put those heels on every day, and walk. You know, practice makes perfect, and it's really something that I've seen. I mean, I've come such a long way from just last year to now, and I see that. And so in my mind, I'm okay, where if I'm here now, imagine where I can be in 2 years from now. And so that's really exciting.
What were maybe like the top three things that you focused on during your preparation between last year and this year to help you feel more confident and ready to get on stage?
Well, the walk is one. Interview is definitely important, and I think alongside interview, really it's about exploring who you are, asking yourself a whole bunch of questions that maybe you've never asked yourself before, right? And it's funny because in theater, you do the same thing. As an actress, you do the same thing, but you do it with the character. And so for me, it's always been easy because I'm given a character and then I analyze the character and then I'm asking the character questions, right? But I've never really sat down with Stephanie and asked Stephanie these questions. And so that was just really, really intense, but in a good way. And it really got me out of that bubble that I was in. So I would say sitting with myself and really asking myself questions. Okay, what is it that you want? What are you going to gain from this? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Which are all like questions that I feel like they would ask you in a class or something, but they're so vital when you're doing something like this because you have to go in with the right mindset.
How have you really focused on keeping yourself prepared mentally and making sure your mental health is on the right track?
Self care. doing a self-care routine is awesome, especially being a mom. I mean, that's something I do anyways. But taking time for myself, I feel like as pageant women, we can get caught up in the whole pageant world and tend to think about it 24/7. And that's not healthy, right? Especially now with social media and I've got to post this and I have to have a social media presence. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I think putting the phone down, taking time for yourself, going to the spa, going for a walk outside, I think has helped me recently in this journey going towards Miss Louisiana USA.
How do you balance being a mom, a wife, and potentially being Miss Louisiana USA, as well as a theater director and an advocate for CHD?
I always like to say that the support system is crucial. I could not do this by myself. I could not. If I didn't have the support of my husband, of my family, it would be so hard. They say it takes a village. It really does. It really does. And it's hard. It's hard balancing. Some days I just want to like lay on the couch and do nothing, but I can't. And that's okay. And then, towards the end of the day, I feel accomplished. But I do have those days where it's tough, and that's okay. That's normal, right? But without the support system, it would be harder than it is.
Is there any part of competition or being at competition for, I think it's 4 days, that makes you nervous?
Not nervous. I'm more excited than anything. I think doing it once already has really helped with that. The first time I went in, I was a nervous wreck. I will admit. Going in this year, I kind of know what to expect a little bit. I'm going in with a different attitude, with a different mindset, which I love, and I'm so excited to actually get to know the girls. I think when you're in a pageant, there's so many things happening, and sometimes you don't have time to actually sit and get to meet with the girls. And that's something I noticed in the pageants I've done before. And so going ahead in my pageant journey, I've told myself, okay, no, you need to make time to converse with these girls because we're all there to support each other. And that's what I love about pageantry is the sisterhood. I mean, these are girls that you're going to be friends with for life.
What's one thing that you think you've discovered about yourself since starting your competition journey?
I am super resilient. That is something I didn't used to think of myself like that before. Um, because I've been through so much, and not just with pageantry, but recently in the past 3 years, I've been through so much in my life that I never thought I would go through. And now that I have, and and now that I'm doing pageantry on top of that, I just think I'm such a resilient person. You can throw so much at me, and I'm still gonna say I'm still gonna sign up for that pageant though. So,
Is there any right time or age to start pageants?
no, no, and I think that I'm a good representation of that because I'm I just started pageants 3 years ago, and I love it. And there's girls that have been doing this for years, and that's fine. Or there's girls that are gonna, in their 30s that want to start, and that's fine too. I think that life is so short, and you should do what makes you happy. And I have found that pageantry is an outlet that makes me happy, and so I'm going to continue to do it regardless of if I win a crown or not.
Do you look at the balance of your career and your nonprofit and the title as maybe ways of supporting each other and furthering each other?
For sure. I think that what I'm doing for the community will, if I do happen to win Miss Louisiana, it will enhance the title for sure, and vice versa, right? I think that if you can collaborate everything together, I mean, it would be so great. It would be so, and that's something that I already do with my nonprofit is help the Romans 1212 Foundation with the CHD patients. We do fundraisers for that as well as other organizations in the community. And so I don't think that you can't mix the two, right? Like you certainly can. There's certainly ways to do so.
What are you doing to prepare yourself for interview and potentially that top 5 on stage question?
Reading a lot, I think, is super important. And I'm a type of person that I enjoy reading plays, right? Which probably won't help me for the top 5 question. But I think that picking up a book in general, just any book, and reading and expanding your vocabulary is super important for anything. I mean, not just for pageantry, but that's something that we should all do more of.
If somebody were to say, well, married women, can't be Miss USA, or, it would be weird to have Miss USA be a mom, what would your reaction be to that?
It's funny because I recently asked that question to my friend that we competed in Miss Royalty USA, and her response was just so spot on. She said, "Well, do you ask Tom Brady, or do people think of Tom, because Tom Brady's a father, right? Do people think of him that way? Oh, because he's a dad, he can't be this super good player, right? Or any of the other athletes." And that really stuck with me because it's so true. Like, why don't we say that about men? It's all it's all about the women. I think that being a mom and being married, I think it'll give so much more to the title. It's so much more experience. I think you're representing such a big group of women that are looking at this show, or have looked at this show, and maybe they're supporting their daughters, right? Which is crazy to me. But I mean, to have a mother be Miss Louisiana, you're opening the doors to so many other women. I think that's so important.
What do you think it's going to take for society to get over the fact that women can be everything and a bag of chips, even if they are a mom and a wife?
It's going to take people like me to keep doing what they're doing. And I know that sounds, harsh and straightforward, but it's true. I mean, you gotta get out and you gotta do it. And whether I win or not, you know what? I did it. I was there. I made myself known. My presence was known, that a mother, a married woman, and a Latina competed in Miss Louisiana USA. And I mean, people can't ignore that, right? They can't ignore that for too long. They can probably ignore it for a little bit. But if I continue to go every year, I mean, at some point they're going to realize, oh yeah, she's still coming. That mama, that married woman, she's still coming. And so I think that we can't back down. We can't back down to the negative comments. We can't back down to the people that don't agree maybe with the changes, because there are people that don't agree with it. We can't back down to that. We got to keep going. We have to evolve as a society, right? It's not about going back. It's about going forward. And this is the forward. The forward is more diversity on stage. And whether people are like it or not, it's going to happen.
And in that same vein of moving forward and the changes of who is represented on stage, Miss USA has always been so, I guess, cornered into thin and tall. Like that has been the Miss USA look. Obviously, we're very aware that that is not the only body type that exists, and it shouldn't be the only body type that exists on a pageant stage. And you and I and others, we do go compete, and we're not a size 2. I don't think I have been since high school. Um, you know, for
Yeah.
you, what is it like to know that you're going up there and not only are you representing mothers and wives and entrepreneurs and philanthropists, but also women who maybe don't see themselves on stage because their body type isn't that pageant body type?
I think it's like you said, Molly. I think that people know that there's more than one body type out there. And I think that it's a beautiful thing, and I know the word beauty pageant isn't used as much anymore, but I mean, every body type is beautiful, right? And I feel like this is a good time to showcase the different beautiful bodies of the world. And so, yeah, for me, and that's another thing that I'm also representing, right, is curvier women. And so I feel just so proud to do so, to stand up there with my head held up high next to a girl that is a size two. But work doing my thing. I think that that's so important. And not to down talk the girls that are a size two, right? But it's about diversity in general, to be able to stand next to each other and support each other in what we're doing is a beautiful thing.
Do you have a favorite phase of competition that you're looking forward to that's really, empowering you through competition?
Yeah, I think swimsuit, because going back to what we were talking about, right? It's the phase of competition where I really have to hype myself up before going out on that stage, um, because it is hard, right? It is hard mentally. Okay, well, maybe I don't look like most of these girls, but once I'm up there, it's so, and you would think the opposite, but it's so empowering to be in front of all those people in that swimsuit, looking sexy and doing your thing, and not a care in the world. And it just the energy you get doing that is amazing. It's so weird because I would never wear a swimsuit just out in public like that, right? To the community pool. I would never do that. But I will stand in front of, hundreds of people and the model for that, which is crazy. But it is such an empowering time in the competition that I'm looking forward to.
Do you have guidelines for the swimsuits that you have to wear in terms of color? I know that Tennessee, they were told they had to wear gold, which was fascinating because I would never know where to go buy a gold swimsuit. Do you
We
have
don't.
any guidelines for that kind of thing?
We don't. We don't, which thank God, because it it makes it so much easier, in my opinion. Maybe for other girls it's easier if you do have a guideline, but for me it's easier if I can go out and pick something that I feel comfortable in and not specifically look for a color that maybe I think I don't look good in. Something that my pageant coach says is, if you don't feel comfortable in it, don't wear it. And I think that's so important, right? Don't pay attention to what other people say about, oh yeah, you look good in it, you don't look good in it. It's about how you feel. And so for me, especially the swimsuit area, is that's super important, is for me to wear something that I feel comfortable in my body.
How shocked were you to learn about butt glue the first time you heard about it?
Oh my goodness, I was so shocked. Wait, I don't even that was hilarious to me. I thought, and that was my pageant coach that said it. I thought she was joking. And then I realized she wasn't. And I'm like, oh no, I really do have to go buy butt glue. And that's what I thought it was called. And so I Googled that, and it came up. It came up. So I didn't know that was, and well, that's another thing, is there's so much that goes into it that you don't know. I learned real quick that all of those things are very helpful once you're backstage about to go on stage, and so I'm very grateful to have known that.
You need the baby wipes to remove the butt glue and get it off your fingers and make sure you don't stick to your.
So many things. It's funny because I packed for a pageant that's like 1 day, 2 days, and my husband's like, you're going on a trip for like a week or something. I'm like, no, you don't understand the amount of stuff that I need to bring with me.
You need 30 extra earring backs. You need 2 extra, packages of hair bobby pins. You need 13 extra bottles of hair. Like, you need all of it.
You need everything, because you never know. You never know. Like the other day I was practicing, and these are shoes that I just got, Molly. I just got these shoes, and the strap broke. It just broke. Like I don't know if I was walking hard, I was like doing my thing, but it broke off. And thankfully, my best friend is a seamstress. And so she, I called her. I'm like, can you please fix my shoe? I have to practice. I have a competition in like a week. And thankfully, she was able to get it done in one day. But yeah, I mean, but that could happen in the actual pageant, right? Like anything can happen. And so you have to be prepared.
I think one of the craziest things I've ever seen watch on stage was a young woman competing in a Miss America competition who was a belly dancer, and her top came undone as she was doing the shimmy and had to shimmy her way off. So truly, anything can
Anything.
happen.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
it
gosh.
was it was a time. What are you most looking forward to between now and Miss Louisiana USA?
Just how much more I can learn with, all the preparation. We're about almost a week away tomorrow. I know, so exciting. And so I have a week to still prepare, right? Like it doesn't end. It ends up until competition day. So taking as much time as I can to focus on this. And that's another thing is I space my things out, right? Like I do have my theater nonprofit, I do have the charity that I'm leading, but sometimes it's okay to put those on the back burner for a little bit and focus on what's coming up. And so that's what I've been doing for Miss Louisiana. And I understand that there is a lot of preparation that goes into it. And so this week, I'm really going to focus probably more so on the interview portion of it than anything else. But yeah, it's all fun to me. It's exciting.
It honestly, an adrenaline rush, and it's one
Yes,
that you can get an adrenaline rush going on a roller coaster or going on a trip, but this is a different kind of adrenaline rush because you're doing it for you,
for sure. For
and it
sure. Absolutely.
there. I don't know how to describe it, but that's the best. That's the
Yeah,
best way.
and who doesn't like to get dressed up and look pretty? I mean, come on. That's fun.
You mean I get to go buy a new cocktail dress and evening gown? Sure.
I know, I know, I know. It's
Speaking of
so
that, for you, what has it been like in order like to find a gown? And you said that your coach told you only wear things if you feel confident in it. What's the process been like for you to find that perfect gown and that perfect opening number outfit?
yeah, so like I was saying before, I do have hips. So something that works around the hips gives me that hourglass figure, right, that we all like. Which I'm so thankful that I found a dress that does. And so I'm really excited, and it's something different that I haven't seen out there. My biggest fear, I think since I started pageants, is that another girl's going to have the same dress as I do. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but that's kind of like my biggest fear is that that will happen. Hopefully it won't, but I'm really excited about the dress I have. It, like I said, it's unique, it's different, it accentuates my curves, and also my swimsuit is different as well. I don't think I've seen one like that on stage, and so I'm excited to show it off.
Can you give us a preview of what the colors are?
Yeah. Well, I feel very confident in black. I will say that. So I will leave you with that.
Now I'm like imagining all the different dress and swimsuit shapes possible for that whole scenario. Well, I know that you have quite a bit of prep that you're probably trying to squeeze in between chasing around a toddler and, running a nonprofit before next week. So we're going to wrap things up with a quick game of this or that. Are you
Oh,
ready?
fun. Yeah.
Okay. We're starting with my absolute favorite, sneakers or stilettos.
Stilettos.
Do you have a favorite pair of stilettos?
I don't. I think just any high heel in general, I would pick over sneakers any
I
day.
Same.
Yeah.
On-stage question or interview?
Interview, just because I've never had an onstage question before. So I don't know how to compare it to the interview. But the interview is a lot of fun.
We're going to get you an on-stage question. We're going
Yes.
to get there.
Yes.
We're going to make it happen.
We're gonna make it up.
Dress or a jumpsuit?
Oh, I like a good jumpsuit. I like a good jumpsuit.
All right. Gold or silver accessories?
Gold.
Is that just because of this, like the whole undertone, or just that's your favorite?
That's my favorite. That's always been my favorite. I think, and also Latinos tend to wear more gold accessories than silver, and so it might just be like a cultural thing. But yeah, I think with my complexion, I think gold would look very nice.
On time or fashionably late?
On time. On time. I'm an on time girl. Got stuff to do.
Teach me. Red or nude lipstick?
Oh, red. I,
Ooh.
I can't do nude. I would not look good with a nude lipstick.
I've tried. I just don't think I've found the right nude for my
Maybe. Yeah.
colorless complexion. I'm white as the inside of a potato. Jeans or leggings?
Leggings.
Oh yeah. Outdoor or indoor adventure?
Oh, I think it depends on that one. But I would say I would say indoor just because I'm from Louisiana and it always rains. It's either raining or it's hot. So indoor.
I feel like y'all have a lot of really big bugs too.
Yes. The mosquitoes are out already. It's horrific, but
It is March.
I know. Tell the mosquitoes that. They don't care.
Oh my gosh. Save or spend?
Spend. I'm sorry. My husband's probably watching this like terrified.
All right. And last one, natural glam or full glam?
I'm natural glam. Just because I know how to do that on myself. So I feel like I can rock it all the time. Not like full glam, I need some help with that.
Same.
Yeah.
I am so excited to cheer you on at Miss Louisiana USA. I know you're going to do an absolute fabulous job, and you will get that on stage question. So, thank you so much for joining me. Where can everyone follow you and support you on your journey to Miss Louisiana USA?
Sure. Well, they can follow me on Instagram at Steph's Pageant Life, as well as at Stephanie Bartage. I have two Instagrams, and on Facebook, Stephanie Bartage. If you look me up, you'll find me. But yeah, it's been an honor to chat with you tonight. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being supportive as well. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you and you cheering me on at Miss Louisiana USA. And I think that it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you so incredibly much. I am so excited for you. Everyone, once again, this was Stephanie Bartage, Miss Capital City USA, competing for Miss Louisiana USA in just over a week.
Thank y'all.
Have a great night, y'all.